وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. Okay, number 5. Leading the prayer in the mosque without a rida. Yeah. That's a cloak. Now, this is in a mosque. Imam Malik radhiyallahu anhu says that he finds it abhorrent that the imams of the mosques lead the prayer without, a rida.
The shoulder.
Yeah, over their shoulders. Even when they're on a journey or at home, or where they gather to pray. So it doesn't matter if it's in a mosque, if it's in a place where they pray, or if you're on a journey. And he says that he prefers it that when you don't have anything to put over your shoulders, when you wear a turban, the thing that you let go at the back. Yeah. So he says just put that on your neck, on your shoulders. So just put that on your shoulders. Now, this you need to understand. The Muftis of Fez, they say that the clothes that we wear now, especially this, the jalbiyah, the jalaba like this, or the coat, your coat on top, that covers you, because what the mantle or the cloak did was that it was an outer garment. I've not seen any of the mosque imams in Morocco ever lead the prayer without a barnous. We're talking about the government appointed masjid imams. They white and they'll come with their barnous to lead the prayer. Unless it's a small mosque where it's not hasn't got a proper qualified alim, you can judge. He won't, but they will always come out as well. With us, something like a coat or jacket, like a throw you've got over your shoulders, that will be fine. Yeah, a coat, cardigan at home. If you haven't got one, if you've got a turban, just put that on there and do it. Are we okay with that? Okay. Now, we covered, the conditions of what was it? Things that are makruh, things that prayer is not correct with that. Now, these are again, this is makruh, but this is for the one praying. First, it was the imams. This is the one praying. Mm-hmm. Praying in between the pillars. Yeah, the mosques have pillars. Morocco, and in most Muslim countries, the old mosques, they have a lot of pillars. You don't pray in between the pillars, because what happens is they put the shoes there. In Morocco they do anyway.
No, Pakistan.
Yeah, they put the shoes in between.
Right over there.
Yeah. So you don't pray in between the pillars. The other thing is the saf is not complete because the pillars break the saf. The saf is supposed to be straight, one row, uncut row. Unless there's a need. Yeah, the exception being that the mosque is really short of space, then the karah would be lifted. The second thing that's makruh for the one praying behind the imam is praying in front of the imam without a valid excuse. If the space is tight, they need space, then you can stand next to the imam. So the imam is just in front and people are left, right, center of him. Left, right of him. For instance, here the Qibla is there. So someone could, if need be, the door open, people could pray outside. That wouldn't, there's a need. Yeah? But without any need, it would be makruh.
That's an opinion I had, but I don't know if it's correct or not. In the Maliki fiqh, as long as the imam is looking towards the Qibla, the people behind him they don't have to be facing it.
As long as some of they should be facing it.
But okay.
As long as their back is not turned.
Because I was told the imam would be facing the Qibla with an angle, but everyone else is just standing.
What it is, a lot of the old mosques in Morocco, they're not, the Qibla's not right. So sometimes the people can't get the stuff straight. But do you remember when we began when we covered the thing for Qibla? As long as your back is not totally turned. When you turn your back totally, then you invalidate your prayer. As long as your chest is facing. Yeah. So if there's a need, people can stand in front of the imam because the mosque is tight. Otherwise, without any reason, it's makruh. The third, which even in Hanafi fiqh, the condition is the same. Second Jamaat after the first one. Second Jamaat after the third one. Now, this reason, this opinion, the main reason is to stop people of bid'ah. I don't like praying behind. People on purpose would miss. I don't like praying behind this man, I'll pray behind that imam. It's makruh. But what you find is, I don't know if it happens in London, in Birmingham, they have, small corner mosques having 2 Jamaats for Jummah. Does it happen in London?
Yes.
Even 3?
Even 3?
It's very busy. If it's a public bank holiday, they'll do 3.
They'll do 3.
East London mosque does 2.
East London mosque does 3. 2.
We have our uni is there. We'll have uni campus will have one. Go slightly more forward, there's a mosque. Go slightly more forward, and then there's ELM with 2. And I think if you go even further along, there'll be another one.
Wow.
I think not after ELM. I'm not sure, but definitely till ELM.
A lot of mosques do 2.
2.
Yes.
For the same prayer time.
Yeah.
But I think
is it just for Jummah or for all the prayers?
no, for Jummah. For Jummah.
So 1 and then another one later on. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because of the people have some timing issues. Some people can actually do it right before, and some people can only do it afterwards.
I think it's about work patterns.
Yes,
It's a work pattern.
Yeah, that not everybody can make it if it's at like 12 to 1.
And also the size of the mosque.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I realised our mosque in Peterborough is the same.
So do we have a dispensation when it comes to that?
No, the thing is, the dispensation would be there, but the thing, we don't.
Okay.
But the reason why it's being given, the opinion is there, is because to keep the community together, to keep, the philosophy of Jummah. The philosophy of Jummah is that, the whole community comes together, rather than what we're doing is we're trying to fit things in. And we've lost the whole philosophy of it. But it's makruh, it's not haram. It's not haram. Okay. We return back to, the conditions of the Imam. This is how the poem is, so
we're back to the condition of the Imam.
yeah. Shurut Kamal al-Imam.
Okay.
The perfection of the Imam. Number 6. Yeah. Someone whose adala we don't know, we're ignorant.
Adala? What's that?
His uprighteousness. Is he, a sinner? Is he not? Is it permissible to take such a person as an appointed imam? The word in Arabic is a ratib. Ratib is someone that's appointed as an imam for the mosque. It's makruh when you don't know anything about them. It's Ibn al-Hajj, I mentioned him earlier. He said that in Fez, because he moved from Fez to Cairo, and he said in Fez we knew that the ruler would only appoint the most upright people to lead. Yeah, he said in Cairo we don't know who is who. Yeah? So that's where his opinion comes. He says if you're not sure, just repeat it. But this with me, if I don't see it or hear it, I pray behind them. That's my rule of thumb. Number 7. Now this gets really interesting. It's very, whenever I read this, I'm amazed how how society has not changed. Seriously, it's we've come so far and we've not moved at all. This is it's a Qad al-Ma'boon, Imamun Ratiban.
Say that again?
Ma'boon.
Okay. Someone who's got homosexual tendencies.
There you go. Yeah.
In public, or is it?
Huh?
Are they a fasik as well because they do it public?
No. This is these are conditions of perfection.
Yeah.
Their imamah is still valid.
They could be an imam.
Listen to me. I'm just reading the text.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that the imamah is valid. It's not perfected. It's not perfect. Yeah, the imamah is imperfect. Yeah. So to take a ma'boon as a ratib imam. Yeah. Now a ma'boon, it's as Mahmoud said, someone with those tendencies. This word in Arabic, the word homosexual doesn't exist.
No, they don't have.
There's no equivalent to it.
There's a book by someone who's written a book on this. Homosexuality before Islam or something like that. I don't know if anyone heard of it. Because he mentions that. He says there's actually, the way the Arabs thought about homosexuality is very, very different from how the Orientalists think about it. They've got a very different perception of it.
There's a lot of books about it.
What is
It's since Lot, Qawm Lot.
But there's no actual word to describe that.
There's no word to describe.
We say shaz.
We say
that someone who's just away from what's normal, but doesn't mean that.
Yeah.
And it's the same in English as well. I mean,
Pardon?
English culture had no concept. This idea of people being heterosexual, homosexual.
Where's this word come
century.
from? 19th century.
Yeah.
So it's a new invention. So it's the same as in traditional societies. This concept doesn't exist. This word ma'boon doesn't actually mean someone with homosexual tendencies. This is Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyah in his book on prophetic medicine. He describes it as an illness. As an illness. One of them, Sheikh Hamdoun, one of the muftis of Fez, he says Kandisa, like a woman.
Yeah, we say khunta.
No, khunta is different.
It's different.
Khunta is not. He says Kannisa. Now, if you actually go to what this word ma'boon does and what Ibn Qayyim al-Jawzi is talking about, is that excuse me, it's the deen. It's we've gone through quite other stuff as well. It means the bottom, not the top partner, and it's someone who has ta'ib, not someone who's active. Yeah, someone who has done tawbah and has given it, not and that's how he's known as ma'boon. Yeah, someone who stopped, doesn't do it. His imamah is fine. It's not perfect. Yeah, it's not kamal, but it's fine. If he was doing it, no.
Like an ex-homosexual.
No, not. It's not. The word, the concept of the homosexual is not there. This is, a modern thing. That's someone who, in all traditional societies, you had people who it was always with young men, not what homosexuality is.
Right.
It pertains to the act,
yes,
not the person.
No, Sidi, it's not that. It's just, homosexuality means a lifestyle. Do you understand?
Now.
The word homosexuality means a lifestyle. What we're talking about and what was understood in traditional societies, all of them, even European ones, was people who did it at a certain time and then stopped.
Because all of these Greek philosophers, they
Yes.
used to have that, but then
Yeah.
they get married. And
Yeah, that's it.
carry on
Yeah.
with life.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Am I right in thinking that it's again, to be graphic, the receiving rather than the active part?
Yes.
That's the problem. So in patriarchal societies, the problem with, and you hear this among patriarchal, homophobic banter, we could call it, in our society, you hear it. The problem is not the maleness. The real problem that people get upset about is that a man is receiving penetration, whereas that is what is proper to a woman.
Yeah.
So the man, and in the Old Testament, you have what's prohibited is that a man should lie with a man, the lyings of a woman.
Well.
So it's it's proper for a man to penetrate and a woman to be penetrated. Whereas here, for a man to allow himself to be penetrated, that's shaming.
Yeah, and this is what ma'boon is. Yeah, someone who's penetrated. Yeah, and here, it's not just someone being maligned. Yeah, no, we're not talking about someone being maligned. Someone, if someone's maligned, that's a big. That's a kabira. You don't do that. This is something that someone was known for and they stopped. Yeah. Okay. So you see, this you try talking about this to a lot of our traditional Pakistani.
So they'll be shocked.
Yeah, but this is this was written 400 years ago.
There's a lot of poetry about the ghulamiyat and the beauty of the young boys. And
They used to write poetry to each other, young men. It's fine.
No, it's just I'll share something with you. Someone I benefited greatly from in the 80s. He used to come for a fortnight over to the UK from Rabat, Dr. Taha Abdul Rahman. And I used to go to Cambridge and Oxford with him because he needed to buy books and visit certain professors. And he would hold my hand, and I used to be so conscientious of it. But the thing is that when you've grown up here, you go to Muslim countries. There's nothing wrong with men, hugging each other, kissing, on the cheeks, holding hands and walking. It's just
hearts in text messages as well.
Huh?
Sending hearts and flowers in text messages.
That's new.
They do.
Because I've lived there, I know. Because when I did my high school in Pakistan, it's very different. The guys are very together. But when I came here, astaghfirullah.
It's totally different.
You
can't do it. Yeah. It's just, it's totally...
It's interesting because in Singapore there are a lot of construction workers from Bangladesh.
Yeah.
And they hold hands when they walk on the streets.
Yeah.
So for the locals it's very strange.
Yeah, they think...
But it's part of their culture.
Yeah.
Sheikh, excuse me. So Ma'boon is the receiving party.
Yeah.
How about the acting party?
No, this is the thing. Edward just told you it's patriarchal society. Well, we can cope with that. We just can't cope with the other bit.
I mean, in terms of fiqh, is there?
They don't have a problem with it.
Okay.
The only problem they have is with the Ma'boon.
Who has a problem with the Ma'boon?
But the act is still haram either way.
Still haram,
It's still a haram.
In the first place,
So you're saying that portion of the text is based on a patriarchal understanding?
No, it's not just our understanding. It's all of the Judeo-Christian religious basis. Is all because it's patriarchal. They think it's okay. But it's just the receiving thing. It's not. Because there's no opinion about the one doing it. Yeah? Okay. But the opinion is there. It was known. Yeah? Nowadays, if something like this happened here in the UK, in any Muslim mosque, someone had done tawbah, stopped, they would, lynch him.
Yeah, there was a ex-client of mine, and he used to go to the mosque. He was not actively, but it shows you in his mannerisms, etc. And sometimes he'd be chased out, sometimes he'd be beaten out. Sometimes he'd be please.
Yeah, the thing is that I used to. This is some time ago. Someone came and said, there's this brother, he says he's got problem with jinns. And in a past life I used to do social work. I used to be a social worker. And I said, because there are certain things that you can check, and I said, check these. What I thought turned out to be right, because when you're not okay within yourself of what you're doing, and it's, your family, your society, or whatever can't let you be what you want to be. You'll take on certain things, and what you notice is that in Muslim society, a lot of people, men or women, will say we're possessed by jinns, or someone's done magic or whatever. It's the underlying problem's not being
possessed.
No, there's no. The thing was he had homosexual tendencies, and the thing is the only way he could rationalize it. It's just that we as a society we've moved on, but we've not moved on. But anyway, where are we now?
So
number 8.
Number 8 for valid but for the Imam.
Yeah. Number 8. Someone who's not circumcised. How the hell are you going to find out? Yeah, but the imama is not, kamil, is not perfect. Now Ibn Harun, again another Maliki scholar, he said it would be makruh because he has left something without a valid excuse. He doesn't have an excuse for not being circumcised. Yeah. So, certain children are born that they don't need to be circumcised. The foreskin just goes back. They don't need to be circumcised. Someone who comes new into the deen. I've come across so many cases where the first thing that the mosque committee, he needs to be circumcised. Bloody hell! Huh? Yeah, don't drive them away. What you do is that it's keep on. Sidi Munir, he was asked, what do we do about new Muslims? He says, keep them away from Muslims.
It's a bit.
Yeah. No, it's actually true. It's true.
Oh, I think the other. Okay.
Yeah, keep them away from Muslims. You teach them their basics, and once they're really strong, then let them near the hard stuff.
I think that's what I saw in the program, because the new Muslims are overly they're just influenced by whatever I think comes in.
It's quite hard because you come new into the religion and then people are telling you contradictory things, so you don't have any knowledge to go one way or the other. So you can feel the new Muslim feels quite under attack as well.
mean, if an old Muslim feels contradicted, then someone who's probably just come in would probably be even more contradicted, isn't it? Yeah, I can imagine.
There's an opinion from Abdul Malik. Abdul Malik is a very senior student of Imam Malik. He says if he's left the circumcision without a valid excuse, his testimony will be accepted, but his imama wouldn't be. Again, we're talking about situations where there's no valid reason. So someone coming new to the deen, that's a valid reason. Someone being mature in their age, that's a valid reason.
And to clarify, we're talking about the imam of a
Ratib imam. We're not talking about anyone just leading. This is someone who's appointed to lead in a mosque 5 times a day. Number 9, one of the makruhat is not makruhat. His imam is not complete. Is not perfect. Is appointing a slave as a Ratib Imam? A slave.
I thought that's one of the obligations for performance to be a free man.
No, that's for Jummah. Yeah, not for the Ratib Imam. Maybe his slave lets him loose. I mean, his master lets him loose. He's got to pray 5 times a day, so might as well. Number 10, someone who has been castrated. Yeah.
What does that mean?
His testicles have been cut.
Okay.
If all of the genitals have been cut off, it's makruh for such a person to be appointed as an imam. Number 11. This is for an illegitimate person to be appointed Ratib Imam. Why do you think this would be an issue? Come on, Ganal.
Societal. I think it has nothing to do with like just his legitimacy itself, just the way people are going to look at him.
Look a bit deeper. Keep in mind. Pardon?
Is it the example it's setting? Or
so what example is being set?
It's okay.
It's okay to be yes, but what else is it saying?
Zina?
Huh? No, but about zina, what else is it saying?
Have no social penalty.
Yeah, because what you've got to keep in mind is that.
So no one can know, maybe.
No, of course people will know. We're talking about when a Ratib Imam is appointed. The CRB, here they do a CRB test. Now, imagine that being done in traditional societies.
So they have to represent the whole congregation?
Yes.
So, obviously that's only representing the vast majority of Muslims because of the Holy Sunnah. So
no, because what it means is that, that someone has benefited from a crime. So a haram act was done, and someone has benefited from that.
Like the child has been born.
Yeah.
It's not their fault, is it?
I know it's not their fault, but the thing is, you're sending forward your representative in front of God.
Yeah.
On this, there's if you want to read up on this, there's so much, within the Sahaba, there was so much ikhtilaf on this. There was a group that permitted it, another group that wouldn't. And why they wouldn't was because they weren't finding fault with the imam, with the child. They were finding fault with what example was being set. The next one, it's like the uncircumcised one. This one, I first of all, I don't really know what it's got to do with imam being an imam, and how the hell we're going to find out. Yeah, the imam's private are so small that he can't, consummate the marriage.
You know what to say about that?
Huh?
That's just.
How the hell are you going to?
There's a great book I read, Return of a King.
Yeah.
William Dalrymple, about the British invasion of Afghanistan in the 18th century. Total, utter disaster. Shaming of ourselves in so many ways. Anyway, but it was well known that the king would keep an executioner, and so he might publicly demand that this man's genitals be cut off. So you can imagine how it might come into the
He actually did
I'm just imagining.
The Genesis to be put up of any man that's going to be anywhere near the harem as well.
Pardon?
That's standard.
Was that standard?
Yeah.
No, that was standard.
That's
The eunuchs.
I thought they sourced eunuchs. I think they made them eunuchs in order to do it.
Parents would make their children
eunuchs. They made the eunuchs. They actually, making the eunuchs. The history goes back to Babylonian times.
Well, the guardians of the tomb were eunuchs for a long time, were they not? I think.
Yes. Not just the guardians of the tomb, but of the haram in Mecca as well.
Some of them still alive.
Yeah, some of them are still alive. When I went, first time, there weren't any women who were guards. Now, those duties have been taken up by the women in the haram Mecca.
They had an exhibition, I think, a year or two ago. Isn't it wonderful? About them. Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. I've got the picture at home.
Okay. But with the eunuchs, there are certain I know of in the Indian subcontinent that the Hermaphrodites, they were born, they were used. But how many are actually born? Majority of them were made. Okay, so this is it's too small. Imam's not allowed. His imam is not perfect. Also, someone who's blind.
Okay. Yeah.
His imam is permitted, but it's not perfect. The alkan, someone who can't, articulate the letters clearly.
So stammering would be in that?
No, there's a word, another one for that. The alkan is someone إخراج بعض الحروف من مخارجها. He can bring out some of the letters from the Arabic letters are brought out from certain aspects of your from that. Ibn Rushd he says the alkan is someone who can't actually you can't make his recitation out. It's like he's muttering. A leper. Now, someone here, the leper that we're talking about is someone is very slight, not far gone.
Leper mean?
Leprosy.
Leprosy.
If it is a lot which will harm people, then his imam wouldn't be allowed. Now, Sidi Ibn Ashir stopped saying this would be enough of the conditions of the imam for Salatul Jama'ah. So, is there any thing that you can think of that we've covered about the conditions of the imam that's not clear?
Would it be possible very quickly to just clarify which are for the Ratib Imam and which are for any old Imam?
These conditions are all for the Ratib Imam.
So otherwise, any Tom, Dick or Harry?
Yeah.
Right.
We're talking about a Ratib Imam. We're not talking about, someone, there's a group here and someone goes and leaves. All of these conditions, if you total them, usually in the other text they come up to 30. They're all to do with the Ratib Imam. Okay, if you haven't got any questions, we'll move on to the next verse. Verse 172. Ali.
172.
172.
Here we go. The person behind the Imam must imitate the Imam except if the latter makes an addition, and the person following him is certain of this, in which case he does not do it. 173?
No, just stop there.
No, just 172.
172.
Okay.
Now, here, we're talking about, the Imam gets up for the 5th rakat. Yeah? You're sure you've prayed 4. Yeah? You must be certain. Not that there's doubt. If there's doubt, you follow the Imam. If you're certain you've prayed 4 and the Imam is making a mistake, you sit. Wait for him to come and sit and end the prayer. You could correct him while he's, getting up. But once his hands leave, he can't return. But if you follow him, you'll invalidate yours. Because you on purpose are adding now. Yeah? You don't follow. You sit. Or are they waiting to get in? Is there something afterwards? Wa alaikum salam. Yep. But you must be certain. If you're not certain, follow. If you're certain, then stop. Yeah? You follow the Imam in, it's 4 rakats. So that's what so if the Imam gets up and prays a 5th, and it's a 5th, you don't follow. Yeah? For instance, Maghrib 3, he gets up for the 4th one. You've prayed 3. Yeah? You sit. Yeah? Are we clear on that? Okay. And I've already said that if you do it on purpose, if you follow him, knowing you will nullify your prayer. So don't follow the Imam when you're certain. Okay. Go on. 173.
The person who arrives late for the Jama'ah should make the Takribatul Ihram immediately and join the Salah with the Imam, whatever his position or movement.
174.
Saying Allahu Akbar if joining him in the act of prostration or bowing, but not in the sitting, and should not follow the Imam. Shall I read the next one?
No.
Okay.
Again, we talked about this earlier. When you come into the mosque, the Jamaat is standing, whatever position the Imam is, the Jamaat is, in the Ruku, Sajda, yeah, or you join them. Yeah? If they're in sitting, okay, wait a bit. But good fiqh is you join them straight away. If they're in ruku, if they're standing, you've got, because they can only go into ruku. Actually, they could go into sajda as well, couldn't they? If they're in sajda, catch it. If they're sitting, they might, get up from it. But if you think that they're about to finish, then let them finish. Yeah? But you'll only catch the Jamaat with the ruku and the 2 sajdas. You won't catch the virtue of the Jamaat by just catching the sitting. Or if you just catch the last two sajdas, the final two sajdas and the sitting, you won't have caught the virtue of the Jama'ah or the prayer. Yeah? Okay.
Sorry, what's the minimum for having caught the prayer?
Ruku.
One ruku.
Ruku. If you catch the ruku, you catch the two sajdas as well.
Okay.
Yeah? But you need to catch the ruku to catch the virtue of the Jama'at. If you catch the two sajdas or the sitting only, then you've not caught the virtue of the Jama'at.
Sheikh, what does catching the virtue of the Jama'at attain? As in, does it attain like the full sawab of the Jama'at? I mean, I don't. If you've joined the Jama'at, isn't it the
you
same?
joined the Jama'at. Your prayer's gone from 1 to 25 to 27.
So that only happens if I've joined
If you catch the ruku,
the first ruku,
or the second ruku, or the third ruku, or the fourth ruku.
But if the first ruku's already happened and they've already gone in, should I wait for the second ruku, or can I just
No,
join the prayer?
whatever situation you find the Jama'ah, you go and join, because you don't know what situation they're in. We could, get some electronics that that press that he's in the second ruku.
That'd be so useful.
It's probably possible.
It is possible.
Why not the Imam? From like artificial intelligence, that would be awesome. But then you might get what else they're thinking.
Yeah.
Imagine somebody gets
No
confused.
good feel with that one.
Yeah. But you'll only catch the virtue of the Jama'ah with the ruku and the two sajdas, because Imam Malik said that you need to catch a full rak'ah. So the full rak'ah is with the ruku and two sajdas.
And sometimes you see people joining in the Jama'at, and then they will pray with everybody else. But then when other people do their salam, then they continue to complete however
Yes.
obligatory number is. Is that what we're supposed to do as well?
Yes.
I always get confused.
Yeah. Whatever you've left, whatever you've missed, you stand up and make up.
Okay.
Inshallah.
So when a woman prays on her own, she gets the reward of
Yes, in Jama'at.
Jama'at. So if you have the choice to pray on your own or in Jama'at, what would you say? 'Cause it's the same reward, right?
No, if there's a Jama'at there, and the men will go and join the Saf. Yeah, the woman will stand on her own. The woman praying on her own gets the same virtues because she's part of the Jama'at then.
No, I mean if you have the choice of staying at home and praying, because you get the same amount of reward as you would in the mosque.
No, who says?
Don't you?
No.
But I thought women
No.
Oh.
The fiqh is the same. You pray in Jama'at, you get the same reward as the men. If you pray on your own, you're praying on your own.
Oh. Never mind.
That's why the Prophet ﷺ said, don't stop the women from going to the masajid.
I was just told that women on her own gets the same amount of reward as men would if
It's very good brainwashing.
Oh my god. That is
To make
so
sure
bad.
women stay at home.
That is so bad.
Yeah.
Destroy the patriarchy.
Yeah. Keep
I
them
honestly
home.
thought it was genuine.
Keep them home. The thing is, if you prayed with another, you can make a Jama'at at home.
Yeah, I'm not talking about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you have to get the virtue of the Jama'at. You have to pray in Jama'at. Yeah.
Makes
Okay.
sense.
You do the next one?
175.
So 175. When the Imam says the final salam, he must get up to make up for the spoken aspects of the salat, but must carry on with the movements from where he joined the Jama'ah.
Okay. Now, for instance, the best way to understand this is Maghrib. Yeah? You come and you've missed the first rakat. Yeah? So you've caught the second rakat. So the second rakat is allowed. The third rakat is silent. Yeah? You've missed the first rakat, so when the Imam says finishes the prayer, you get up, yeah, You're making up, the actions of the third rakat, but the words of the first rakat. So you have to say the Fatiha aloud and the surah aloud.
Even in the masjid?
Even in the masjid. Because it's sunnah to say the 2 rakats aloud.
So hold on, if you join on the second rakat.
Yeah. You've missed the first rakat.
Missed the first rakat, you join the second rakat, everyone else is doing the third rakat, and you're reciting out loud.
No.
Oh.
The prayer has finished.
Okay.
The Imam has said salam, the prayer is finished. You've got up to make the rakat you've missed. So the rakat you missed, in that is sunnah to recite aloud.
Oh, okay. So you missed the first rakat. After he said salam, that's when you're making up. And
that's when you're making up. So the rakats, the rule of thumb, all the rakats that you miss in which you said aloud, you say aloud. In which the rakats you've missed, it said, the prayer said silently, you pray them silently.
But what if there's obviously more than one people who join the congregation?
No, but loud doesn't mean like a loudspeaker. Yeah? Loud means that the one next to you can hear. Does that make sense? Yeah. The only difference is the woman will do it at a lower tone than the man. The woman will say it aloud. The man will say it aloud. The man will be, the tone will be a bit higher, and the woman will be a bit lower.
Why is that?
That's how they wrote it.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's like you feel like the church.
No, I don't like that.
No,
because the men said so.
That's it. Yeah. Now, when women get to that, they can give us a different opinion.
Sheikh Krausen.
Huh?
Sheikh Krausen's quite good on women's views on these things.
Who?
Halima Krausen.
Macrossan.
Yeah, she's
Halima
a
Krausen.
scholar, a German scholar. She comes here quite often.
She was in Tuna College. I mean, did she visit there?
She probably did it. She's sometimes on. She's done a couple of things on Seekers Hub, just one off.
Okay.
And Radical Middle Way as well. But yeah, she's very good at this sort of thing. She's German, and she's very German. Really.
Do you know the Japanese? I'm reading a book right now. The Japanese anthropologist, I can't remember her name, but she wrote a book called The Tao of Islam. Gender relationships in Islam. Yeah, her book. I'm reading it right now. It's so good.
What's it called?
The Tao of Islam. Like her view of it is really comprehensive, so unbiased. Such a brilliant book.
Okay. The thing is, we need more women scholars to write about women's issues and men's issues as well. Yeah. I would recommend Sheikh Tawil, rahimahullah. He was one of the dons from the Karaween. He passed away a couple of years ago. He actually wrote a whole work in response to feminists who questioned him, and they said that the deen is patriarchal. So he wrote a whole work. It's actually worth reading.
What's it called?
La Dhakuriyata fil Islam.
Is there a translation?
No.
Have to learn.
Who's going to do the honors?
Learn Arabic.
What's the Sheikh's name?
Sheikh Tawil.
Yeah, it is a shame because I have some friends who are trying to practice Islam, but the thing stopping them is kind of the idea that Islam is just.
No, but the thing is, he actually broke. Broke the whole argument of patriarchy and Islam.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, what he comes up with is amazing. He says, look, here we've got female mujtahid mutlaqs from the Sahaba who are more tough, on had punishments than men are. That actually, you need to read Ibn Taymiyyah's opinion on that. That actually is an eye opener. I know people don't like him, but on this, his research is bang on. Ibn Taymiyyah.
Is it like Dr. Abdullah bin Farooq's thingy is when he was asked about the two witnesses for a court, and he said that who said you need two women witnesses in context or something like that. He came up with an explanation for it, that you can have one female witness and she can.
I do need to finish this today.
Please, no, come.
Yeah.
No, please.
186. 176.
176. Okay. He must say Allahu Akbar when standing up after the Imam Salam. If he completes a pair of rak'ahs or less than a rak'ah, and in the case of the mu'ammam's negligence while behind the Imam, then the latter is responsible.
Okay.
But no idea what that means.
You know when the latecomer, if he's caught 2 rak'ats with the Imam, yeah, with the Jamaat, he's caught 2 rak'ats. When he gets up with the 3rd rak'at, he doesn't say the takbir.
He doesn't.
No. Or her. Yeah.
Okay, just because it reads like one should. He wants to say that Allahu Akbar.
No, hold on. He doesn't say the takbir till he is fully erect. Yeah? So, because you know when you begin any action, you say the takbir at the beginning. But when you get up for the 3rd rakat, you say the takbir at the end of the action. Yeah? So, when you get up for the 3rd rakat, when you're fully standing, then you say Allahu Akbar.
Because you were saying that's technically the beginning of a new
unit. Yeah. So when you've caught two rakats, yeah, or you've caught 1 rakat with the Imam. When you get up for the 3rd rakat, you won't say the takbir till you're fully standing. Yeah. Now, any mistakes that you made while you were behind the Imam, praying behind the Imam, he carries your mistakes. Yeah? He carries your mistakes. But he can't carry you in the mistakes that you pray on your own. You make up the mistakes for those. Does that make sense?
So it's like if you join the 2nd one until the Imam doesn't stand up and say Allahu Akbar, you can't just walk in and say Allahu Akbar until he's done.
No. What we're talking about is you've caught 2 rakats with the Imam. The Imam has finished the prayer. He said Assalamu alaikum. Yeah? Now, when you're standing, you don't say the takbir till you are fully standing. Okay. Then you say Allahu Akbar.
I get it. Yeah.
You get it? Are we okay on that?
Yes.
Okay. Now then, 177 and 178.
Okay, here we go. Irrespective of whether he was present if the Imam was negligent, although the fuqaha have stipulated that if he did not catch a rakat, then he does not do any prostration of negligence with the Imam. And 179 as well? Yeah. The salat is invalidated for those behind the Imam when that of the latter is invalidated, other than in one obvious case. I think I'm ready.
170? You ready?
Yeah, 180 I think, because that mentions
178.
Yeah.
Okay.
If the Imam remembers that he is in a state of ritual impurity or is overcome by ritual impurity.
No, that's 179, isn't it?
No, 177.
We missed 177.
177, 178.
Okay, let me read it again. 177, yeah? Okay. 177 is, the person who joins the salat late should make the prostration of negligence, which has to be done before the salam with the Imam, that to be done after, he should make up after the salam.
And 178?
178 was, irrespective of whether he was present, if the Imam was negligent, although the fuqaha have stipulated that if he did not catch a rakat, then he does not do any prostration of negligence with the imam.
Okay. Now, this is what you've got to make sure is, the rakats that you have prayed in, if the imam made a mistake in that, and he goes at the end of that prayer, he goes into sajda, before the salam, follow him. Does that make sense?
Can you say that again, please?
You've caught one rakat with the imam, and he made the mistake in that one rakat. When he's making up the two sajdas before the salam to correct the mistake, you follow him in that.
Oh, okay. So you follow the imam regardless, even when he's correcting.
Right. What you do not do is not follow him in the two sajdas after the salam. Do you remember how you correct the mistakes? If you've made a mistake, if you've left, any of the sunan out, 3 or less, is 2 sajdas before the salam at the end. And if you've left a fard or added to the prayer, you do 2 sajdas after the salam at the end. Now, if the imam makes a mistake in the rakat or the 2 that you've prayed, follow him in the 2 sajdas before the salam, not the 2 sajdas after the salam. Does that make sense?
And you'll make those when you finish, or not?
No, because the thing is that you if he made the mistake in the rakats that you were with him, then you do them after. Or is it complicated?
So if he leaves something out when you're praying with him, then he owes 2 before the salam. Follow him in those.
Yes.
If he adds something while you're with him, he owes 2 after his salam.
After the salam.
But you're not going to say salam.
No, you're not going to follow him in that. You will do that when you finish.
But only if you made the mistake that he made. So if you weren't present at the time he made the mistake,
you don't follow him. No, and you do not owe 2 sajdas either.
Okay.
The mistake must be in the rakats that you caught with him. If the mistakes were the rakats that you missed, you don't make up those sajdas. Brilliant. Okay. 179, 180 and 181.
The salat is invalidated for those behind the imam when that of the latter is invalidated, other than in one obvious case. If the imam remembers that he is in a state of ritual impurity or is overcome by ritual impurity during the salat, as long as he leaves the salat immediately, in this case it is recommended that he designate one of the following him to complete the salat after him. If he refuses, then they may complete it individually or may themselves put someone forward to lead the salat.
Okay. Now, something like this happened in, I think, in London sometime last year. The imam broke his wudu.
Yeah, he didn't have wudu, and I think they put up a sign saying everyone that prayed then just repeatedly pray.
Yeah. Okay. Now, it was good that he put up the notice. The prayer if the Imam breaks his wudu, during prayer, it invalidates his prayer. It does not invalidate the prayer of the people behind him. Yeah. Now, what he should do is he can either, what he should do is, it's recommended, he puts someone from behind, pulls someone in his place, and then he walks off. For instance, I'll give you a scenario. The Imam's in ruku, realize he's just lost wudu. Yeah? So he does not say Sami Allahu liman hamida. He stands up, pulls someone forward, tells him carry on, and then goes. Now the whole Jamaat follows that man who's been appointed and finishes the prayer. That's one scenario. The second scenario is the Imam loses wudu, walks away. The Jamaat sees him walk away. Now, if someone from the Jamaat steps forward to lead the Jamaat have a choice to either follow him or finish their prayers individually. So those are, the three scenarios that you have. It's called they call it istikhlaf. You know the word khalifa, that someone deputizes for the Imam. The scenario can be that he broke his wudu, or he nosebleed, or something happens and he needs to go. He sees someone being robbed, or woman being that needs help, or something that he needs to do. He can just leave the salat and go and do it. It will invalidate his prayer. But if someone steps forward to complete the prayer, the Jamaat have the choice to follow him or not follow him. But if he appoints someone, then the Jamaat should follow him.
I have a question about that. So about that question, if the person who has to leave the prayer for whatever reason, is there a way of coming out of prayer, or he just walks off?
Say again?
So this person, the Imam, or if you're going to pray by yourself and you have to leave the prayer halfway because of something, broke or someone's getting robbed or whatever, is there a way of coming out of prayer, or does he just walk off?
No, he just walks off, because his prayer is gone. If he broke his wudu, his prayer is gone.
So he doesn't say anything.
If his nosebleed won't stop, he needs to leave. His prayer is gone. His prayer is broken. If he sees something that someone needs help, he just goes. In that scenario, he can pull someone forward, or just say, "Can someone lead?" Or he can clarify, "Look, I need to go. Someone's getting killed or whatever." So if he appoints someone, then the Jamaat has to follow. If someone else puts themselves forward, then the Jamaat has a choice either to leave it, to follow him, or complete their prayer individually. Both are valid positions.
What if the Imam leaves, doesn't appoint anyone, and nobody steps forward?
Then they finish the prayer individually.
Sure. One question. I never asked this last time, but if the Imam's in a situation where he's praying and there's a danger, for example, we had this, maybe I told you before, we just had the fire alarm go off, and the Imam continued even though the fire alarm went off. That was very silly. Now we're to get out. But at that point, what should the Imam do? Can he just say salam wherever he is so he can end the prayer and let everybody go? Because obviously there is a crisis there can be a proper emergency where.
No, if there's an emergency, you finish. You say Assalamu alaikum. The prayer is finished.
So that's what you should have done in that.
No, if there's, because a lot of the time, the fire alarms go off. It might be what's it called every week? False alarm, or they have every week they test the alarm at a certain time. So if they know that's that, then they carry on. But if it's a genuine, fire alarm, then you finish. Assalamu alaikum. Prayer can be made up. Lives can't be made up.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
Now, I've come to the end of the book of prayer. Is there any questions about prayer? We ain't going to be able to do Kitab al-Zakat.
I have a thing.
Yeah, go on.
Up in the bottom.
Go on.
So do you know the Tashahhud, right?
Yes.
I found the first part of it, but the second part.
Yes.
I can't find any audio for that at all, so I kind of need some any sort of recitation for that, so I can actually listen to it, because I have to listen to it and memorize it.
Okay.
You said that there was two. So there's one in Qadi, I think, Iyad's book, and there was a longer version. Maybe you said that you can say any two of them in the Maliki school. So after the first one is there's.
Why do you need the one I put up is transliterated?
Because I don't know the correct pronunciation, so I might just say it wrong if that makes any sense.
Okay.
If that's okay with you.
The second one is a long one.
The second one is the one.
You mean the dua after the tashahhud?
That's the one.
The last class.
Yeah?
You recited it. Yeah, we've recorded it.
There you go, he's recorded it.
Have you got it?
It's in the recordings.
I haven't checked that.
The last class.
There you go.
If it's there, then I'll just memorize that then. Inshallah. And that long one is still there in the notes, isn't it? The Facebook notes?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine.
If there's a need, I'll record it with a slow.
If that one isn't okay, then I can message you. Will that be okay? Thank you.
Okay. Yes.
So I don't know whether it's going to be covered later, but just that question I had about if you're praying in Jama'ah but you don't necessarily agree with the person leading.
Yes.
Like I've heard that you can basically pray the Salah, but you can make a niyyah that you don't take him as your representative in the Salah, but you don't not pray in case you might cause a fitna. You still pray, but you make the intention that he's not praying your Salah, basically. He's not representing you.
What the madhabs, the opinion of the school is that pray the prayer in Jama'ah, but then repeat it.
Okay.
Because it just doesn't make sense that I do not know any of our scholars giving the opinion that you join a Jama'at and then you're praying on your own. It just doesn't make sense. It's because you're part of the Jama'at. You're actually following the movements of the Imam, so you're actually following him. Yeah. So the well-known opinions within the school is that if you're not happy, with the person that there's something that you don't, then repeat it. It's usually with the people of Bid'ah.
And if it was Jummah, for example, would you just pray your Lord?
No, Jummah. The thing is, Jummah, if you know that the Imam is someone that you're not going to pray behind, just don't go there.
And pray what Dhuhr?
Pray Dhuhr. Depends on, or go to another mosque. Well, is your thing a university or college or something?
Where I work.
Oh, where you work?
The closest masjid there is
miles away.
No, there's a masjid right there, but
there's a mosque at work.
There's a masjid near where I work.
Okay.
But the person who leads the salah is.
Oh, you don't agree with it? Just pray at work? Just pray at work? Because the thing is that if there's a mosque and you don't agree with the people who are in the mosque or the imam that's leading in the mosque, don't go to the mosque. It's that simple. Because that way you avoid fitna. Inshallah. Anything else?
There's a question a brother has asked me to put forward. Basically, if, for example, he's attended a fiqh class,
yes,
and he's realized that all the prayers he's done in the past were either deficient or invalid.
Yeah.
But at the time when he prayed them,
they were valid.
He thought them to be valid to the best of his ability.
They're valid.
Does he then have to make up?
No,
he doesn't.
They're valid.
Okay.
Because the thing is, you go by what you know.
Okay.
You can't, start judging what at that time you thought was correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
When we start the prayer, I was confused by this. So you say, do you make the intention first, or do you just say Allahu Akbar and then make the intention in your head and then start?
The intention should coincide not with the hands, with the takbir. The takbir is fard.
And no Bismillah or A'udhu Billah, just straight to the surah?
Allahu Akbar, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. That's the mashhur.
Okay.
That's the well-known opinion of the school. Anything else?
One more thing. Sometimes I have a tendency it's a lack of concentration in salah. I'll start my surah and then I can't remember whether I actually recited Fatiha or not.
Right.
In that situation, what should I do?
Or recite Fatiha.
As in finish the surah and recite Fatiha, or start reciting Fatiha?
Right.
Then?
Okay. Is it one-off, or is it something that happens quite often?
It doesn't happen often enough. I noticed this last week. It happened about 2 times. Like, for example, I would be in the second rak'ah and I will be reciting the surah, and then I won't remember whether I'd recited Fatiha before this surah, for example.
Okay. So the rule, remember this rule, and this rule governs everything in life. You always go to certainty. You know, if there's any doubt, you always go to what you're certain of. Yeah. So if it's you're in doubt, have I recited Fatiha or not? But I'm reciting a surah. Yeah, but you're not certain. So you have to recite a surah. You have to recite Fatiha. Fatiha is fard, surah is sunnah. You're still standing, so you can still do it.
But as in, would I finish the surah, or would I stop there?
No, stop.
And then recite.
Begin with Fatiha.
And then if I begin with
Fatiha is a fard, surah is a recommended.
And then if I stop and recite Fatiha again, should I recite that surah again?
After Fatiha, because the thing is now, Fatiha, you will have to. After Fatiha is the surah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. After Fatiha is the surah. Now, but if you do this, you will have to do 2 sajda sahw. Yeah. But they will have to be after the salam, because you've added. Yeah. Anything else?
We're just deliberating on what you were saying about where husband and wife pray. I'd understood that I would be to Edward's right, but like a step back.
Make it 2.
2, okay.
Do what my wife does, stand right behind him at the back.
Huh? Sorry?
My wife just stands behind him.
Just behind you, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's easy. I gave up, because I used to tell her, stand on the right of me. She says she feels happy standing behind me.
Mm-hmm.
So, behind me.
She Maliki as well?
Yeah. Pakistani Maliki. Gets a hand folded in praying.
It's a rare thing. Whenever I tell someone, I'm Pakistani or Maliki.
Alhamdulillah. It's good. Anything else?
It's ironic that somebody grabbed your hand and put them up, because I swear I've heard a narration where, I can't remember which Sahabi it was, but they say in the Haram he saw someone praying with his arms folded, and he went and separated them.
There's a Tabi'i.
Yeah.
Sayyid ibn Jubair, he did that.
Yeah.
The only way you can, get rid of ignorance is knowledge. The more we tell people, the better. I would recommend everyone to read the hadith. There's only one hadith in the whole corpus of hadith. The whole hadith literature there is only one hadith where the Prophet ﷺ teaches the prayer. Only one. It's in Sahih al-Bukhari. It's in the chapter of not doing the ruku properly. If you can't find it, just go to my notes on Facebook, you'll find it. The Prophet ﷺ literally walks you through the first rakat, and then he says repeat it, because he doesn't need to teach us every rakat. He just needs to teach us one rakat. And I tell you, I have a friend of mine who's into prophetic medicine. When I was telling him that the Prophet ﷺ says that each vertebrae of yours needs to be straight, one on top of each other, so precise that your vertebrae has to be straight. Yeah, your bones in your joints need to be in their natural position. Yeah, and now read Quran. It's how can every bone go back to its natural position, and you still want to do this? Yeah, and then you have 30 years after the death of the Prophet ﷺ, 10 Sahaba, and they're the ones that transmit, the folding of the hands in prayer. They're in this majlis, 10 Sahaba. The 11th one is the Humayd Sa'di, the companion who's transmitting this. He in front of them says, I am the one who knows the most, who's the most knowledgeable in the prayer of the Prophet ﷺ. It's like he's trying to teach the old ones new tricks. And they're saying you. So they call it, they think he's bluffing. So they call his bluff, they say show us. There's one where he says show us. There's another where it said that tell us. He begins from the the takbirat al-ihram to the salam, is one salam, and goes right through the prayer, and then all 10 of them say sadaqta. Not that you forgot this, you forgot this. All of them say sadaqta, that you've told the truth. And so the evidence for the hands and keeping your face straight, looking straight, eyes open, everything is totally relaxed. The way that the Prophet ﷺ taught it, and then the companions taught it, it's amazing. Before we finish, on this, so that was 30 years, 60 years after the death of the Prophet ﷺ. This is in 73 Hijri. In Mecca, we have Abdullah bin Zubayr being asked, why do you do this? Yeah, and who taught you the prayer? Yeah, and why do you do this? This is how I was taught. And so he's asked, who taught you the prayer? This is my grandfather. Do people know who his grandfather was? Abdullah bin Zubayr, Sayyidina Abu Bakr. So he
Asma is name, right?
Yeah, Asma bin Abu Bakr. That's his mother, and he prayed hands by the side. And if someone says that this actually supports the opinion, I don't agree with the opinion, but it's a valid opinion that this is abrogated, because if you look at the timeline, you have 30 years after the death of the Prophet ﷺ, Humayd Sa'di in front of 10 companions telling them, I am the most knowledgeable of the prayer of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he goes through the prayer in front of them, and they are the ones who transmit this holding of the hands, and in the end all 10 of them say sadaqta, you've told the truth. This is 30 years. Then in the year 73 Hijri, which is 60 years after the death of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you have the grandson of Abu Bakr radhiyallahu anhu praying in Mecca and saying, my grandfather taught me this.
True.
So anyway, are we no questions? We're done with prayer. Inshallah, if Allah permits, next time we'll begin with zakat. Inshallah. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, we ask you that you give us useful knowledge and give us knowledge on which there's amal and there's benefit in, and keep us away from knowledge in which there's no benefit. And اللهم أعطنا علم نافع ورزق واسع وشفاء لكل داء. اللهم إنا نسألك كل خير سألك من عبدك ونبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعبادك الصالحون، ونعوذ بك من كل شر استعاذك من عبدك ونبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعبادك الصالحون. اللهم صل صلاة كاملة وسلم سلاما تاما على سيدنا محمد الذي تنحل به العقد وتنفرج به الكرب وتقضى به الحوائج وتنال به الرغائب وحسن الخواتم ويستسقى الغمام بوجهك الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه في كل لمحة ونفس بعدد كل معلوم لك. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.